This one that we're going to talk about today is automated mapping of negative human influence on the coastal zone through remote sensing. It's plenty of things to put inside one little title, but let's see what we have here. So coastal ecosystems are a complex interaction of biotic and abiotic ecosystem components near or on the coastline, which lie at the interface between marine and terrestrial ecosystems. 1/3 of the human population lives in the coastal areas, and you can see this is a perfect setup for trouble. Why? Because humans like to do a lot of things that we call interactions, and we think the majority of those are actually negative, and we wanted to see if we can describe them. Based on this, we developed one main technical objective, and we were thinking, and we came up with this one right here. So the main technical objective of our approach was to develop in long term an automated process based on Sentinel-2 imagery with a detection period of 5 to 10 days, which Sentinel-2 imagery allows us, and with a minimum change surface of 400 square meters. But we didn't want to go so broad, so we decided to bring it down, and we actually had 4 actual implementations. So we were interested in riding of karst coastline to create beaches, which you would never see here on the Croatian coastline. Then embanking and refeeding of the karst coastline with gravel, dumping construction material on the shore, and of course this one is the least expected one, construction of illegal piers around our beautiful coastline. So this is me swimming around on a summer night thinking about this wonderful topic. So this whole project was reinforced and implemented through 4 work packages. First one is the super excited one of project management, so it's kicked out of the slide. Then the second one coming up was basically we wanted to include the end people, or those who would probably use this and implement it and have actual use out of it. So we went to the public governance and we gave them a questionnaire, a really exciting thing, focused out of 15 questions. We asked them a lot of interesting things like, do you like it? What would you put inside? What is very important to you? Would you like to see this being something that you can get on asking? Is it something you are not interested in? And well, majority of them, actually 100%, said this is fantastic, which is great for us. So second thing, what we wanted to do, we wanted to go and check out the literature, because literature, of course, contains all the knowledge we need and some very nice pointers for the ideas we had. So after analyzing around 100 public papers, which we definitely went for the peer-reviewed literature, we were striving to stay away from gray literature. Gray literature was okay, so in this respect it was good for some pointers, but we decided to really keep it to the point and go only with peer-reviewed essentials. What we found out was very fantastic. There's no real scientific work in this regard. So there's a lot of those that actually talk and delineate sand buildup on the shore, moving of the sand dunes and similar, but actual tracing of negative human influence just maybe mentioned in 1 or 2 papers and not with effective tracking per se. After this, we just went in and isolated a study area. We did analysis on it, applied the methods we found out interesting in this respect, then graded them and ranked them, and then reapplied them to additional 3 study areas. But let's not just talk, let's show how this works. So this area here, maybe it's very interesting or known to you. As you can see, this is a beautiful blip in our Adriatic Sea, and this is in the territory of Makarska, where literally over 2 days you got additional buildup of a beautiful coastal area where you can go and have fun. As you can see, this looks very nice and very involved with the rest of the nature there. The complete size, as you can see here, it's 1,744 square meters, which is more than enough to see it even from the space. So that's what we call a tiny influence. We wanted to have at least 3 methods to apply, so we decided to go with 2 major ones and 1 little one that we later on changed, but I'm going to come to that when I come to the number C. So, first one, object-based image analysis. It's fantastic because it groups everything together, it mimics your vision, so at the same time you can see me, but you can see everything around me, but then if you focus you can see my eyeglasses, or my nose, or my whatever. So this is what computer vision tried to mimic by doing object-based image analysis, and this gives you a lot of more information about what you're looking at than just regular pixel one. So under B, we also said, okay, it would be fair enough to do pixel-based one also, and here I made a mistake, right, calling it Obaya 2 in the brackets, so please disregard that one. In both cases, we decided to do two things. So support vector machine learning, and then random forest too, because we wanted to compare those two directly and see which one is better, because literature said, hey, these are fantastic. And well, honestly, we had a lot of fun. It was super boring and it was fun. Number C, we changed it up. This is a long title to read, so just switch it out. We wanted to actually substitute this one and see what we can do with Sentinel-1, because in Sentinel-2 case, there's a lot of cloud cast and similar, so you have problem with that initial sentence 5 to 10 days. Sometimes it's a month, but still it works. So in the C case, we decided to do SAR interferometry to see if it works, and let me just be clear, it doesn't work. Regular stuff to prepare, so we decided to do some sample data training. We had to collect samples. We decided to have 300 per image. This was like a nice number we came up during coffee. Decided to separate this into 70-30 ratio. We ended up with 210 samples for training and 90 samples for checkup. We came up to 5 total categories, because why? You have to be very specific, you have to be very specific, but not too broad in these cases. So we decided for shallow sea, deep sea, bare surface, built-up, and vegetation. And you're going to see the logic behind this in a few seconds. All the input data put together, so you have the coastline delineated, you have the sample data for training and application, and you have the buffer zone, because we wanted to limit the area of interest, not to analyze the whole imagery, to get some time to spare, so you can see what's going on. The whole implementation was done within the eCognition suite, because it's perfectly tame and generated for object-based image analysis. We did the separation of the imagery into little prototype objects, which basically each one of them describes pixels of the same element and worthy. But the second thing it also allows us is to see how geometry and these geometrical properties also work. For each of these cases, we implemented our samples, we applied them to the objects, we performed the training, and this is the output result. We did this for time before and after the change, and then we did a comparison where we looked at two things. So one of the major things we wanted to look is, if you apply a mask for the coastal area, did a blip show up? So was there something that's not in your coastal region from the original? And the second thing we wanted to compare is the classification change before and after. But more on this in a second. Here is the results we got, and as you can see here in the upper row, random forest outperformed support vector machine. When it comes to support vector machine, we came to around 67–70% accuracy, but in random forests, and this is across all our study areas, we were about 80%, which in my personal opinion is great. Here is one quick showing of how we isolated this first way of tracking changes. So if you see under A, here basically we applied a regular mask for the coastal area, and we were just figuring out, is there something popping out? And you can see that little yellow thingy up there in the A in the middle, so that's the area of interest, and then we could mask it out and see it. So on the B you can see it a bit better, and on the C not that clearly. Second approach was to see what happened when it comes to the change in the classification. And there was multiple correlations you could actually look at, but what we were interested is where the shallow sea went to the deep sea, where the deep sea went into the shallow sea, because probably somebody put something in. Or where the shallow sea went into regular bare surface. So somebody built something up or put it there, so the sea is gone. Or probably a change where you went from vegetation into bare surface, or from vegetation to a buildup. So all these correlations, and we had a total of 6 of them, were telling us something is going on there and you should really pay attention. So this you can see on the sea. So with this really nice greenery area, color, we colored out the areas where something indeed did happen, and we popped something out. And it was really what we were interested in. White screen to confuse you. Good, let's continue. So, we had additional 3 areas where we wanted to test our approach. And this, from left to right, on the left, Baška Voda, in the middle, Omiš, and on the right, Pag. For the area of Pag, this was really interesting because nothing happened in the sea area or the coast. but on the inner part, complete chaos. But I'll show you that in a second. So first, Baška Voda, we had, as you can see, this little purple square there, a little blip that you can see on the upper part, and it really showed very clearly with our approach. Second approach, Omiš, they decided over the period of 1 year to do a little bit of putting additional sand in the sea to extend the beach area, and we were really happy to be able to catch that right up. This is not illegal, of course, but we wanted to see if we can catch any kind of a change that happened in the region. And for the region of Pag, as you can see, when you put the mask, nothing happened in the sea, but when you look at the change that occurred in the coastal area, well, there's a complete change in the area, so everything was ground up. If you take the imagery, and I don't have it right now, you will see that Pag 2 years before, and right now, it's not a slight change, there's a 30 or 40% change. The cover, or the land cover, is completely gone, it's only rocks. So a lot of fun for people having a little bit of intervention there. So for all of you, just to keep that in mind. Thank you.